Hi, it's Chris Watkin here, and I'm with Keira Wiles, who is Tony Morris's right-hand lady, the one that does all the work with Tony. Keira, what are the 6 traits that top-performing negotiators do to make themselves awesome? Talk to me.
Okay, the first thing sounds really, really obvious, Chris. Preparation. So many I watch do not do it. So preparation before a viewing, preparation for the actual day.
Well, it's all about just grabbing the brochure as you walk out the door, isn't it?
Absolutely not. The main thing is preparing for your sales calls. Okay, so people kind of wing it, if you like.
What do you call a sales call?
Anything. So a sales call could be calling your vendor and asking your vendor to reduce. It's a sales call. You're getting them to do something. Your main ones, of course, trying to win business. So if you've been out to value a property, following up. If you're getting someone to view a property, view a couple more, mortgage points, everything.
So what does good preparation look like?
Good preparation looks like a little bullet pointed notepad. So you need to preempt anything they're going to come up with, any objections they might come up with. You need to have your fees, any deals, anything you can give to them. You need to have your buyers and tenant list ready, depending obviously on your call. But mainly you need to set yourself a goal. So your main goal is, of course, to get the house on the market, get your reduction, whatever you're looking for, but set a couple more. What else can you get out of that phone call? So for 30 seconds before every phone call, have something written down, get ready, know what you're going to achieve, and get on with it.
It sounds so simple.
It sounds really, really obvious, but they don't do it.
Okay. What's the second?
Structure. So each phone call you're going to make, and we've just been through a couple of the different ones, each phone call should have a set structure that you stick to every single time you make that call. The delivery can change based on your person, but in order to keep in the direction you want to go to get your goal that you want to meet, it needs to stick to the same structure.
Okay. Well, if some negs watching, let's give me an example of a good price reduction structure phone call.
Okay, so you do preparation first. You need to be talking to the vendor. You need to be building up what I would call evidence. I look at it a little bit like a court case. So evidence, if you just ring a vendor and say you need to reduce your price, they're immediately going to get the backup. So you're going to talk to them about how the property's been performing, feedback, valuation figures, what properties locally have sold for, any success stories, why reducing the property is the right thing for them to do based on the information you've built up. And then ask them or do an assumptive close. So for example, if you've got no reservations at all, tomorrow at 12 o'clock I'm going to reduce your price. Any problems before then, give me a ring.
That's quite ballsy, don't you think?
Especially
if the value has gone and overvalued it to get the business in the first place.
Well, they shouldn't be doing that in the first place.
Yeah, but this is real world, isn't it?
It is. It's real world, and it's difficult. You don't get. There's no black or white, is there? With a valuation figure, you've got to base it on everything, but often vendors kind of say, well, I want to put it on at this, I want to try it at this, but you've got to be ballsy, you've got to be saying, yeah, if you want your house to sell, this is what you need to do.
It's interesting. I think negs should actually talk to their valuers a bit more, because let's be honest, they're prima donnas, these valuers. They waltz in, waltz out, and the communication between the neg and the valuer is not often as good as it should be, should it?
I think there needs to be a really, really good communication between them right from the beginning, where the neg books the valuation in. There needs to be as much information to help that valuer walk through a door. But then equally, when they've been into that valuation, the neg needs to know exactly what they're following up on, and same when it's instructed.
What would you say to a neg whose valuer doesn't talk to them? Is it the responsibility of the neg to go to the valuer and sit down with them and say, right, talk to me about this property?
No, I think it's responsibility of the valuer, really. If the valuer's been out and the valuer has put property on the market, the valuer's got all the knowledge behind them, he's met the vendor.
But if the valuer's not giving that to the neg, surely the neg has to go to the valuer.
Of course they do, yeah, obviously. If it's not there, you need to ask for it, don't you?
What's the third point? Third trait?
Third trait, or the best practice for a negotiator is it's strange really, because we were talking about this before, but listening on your calls, listening on your conversations that you're having. So most estate agents now have got recording facilities. Every Wednesday morning, have 20 minutes with your team and listen in. I learned a really valuable lesson from doing this many years ago.
Yeah, but no one likes listening to themselves. I mean, let me let you into a little secret. It's very rare for me to actually listen to all of my videos.
I think if you're in a job where you're constantly evolving, you need to be better. You're already brilliant at what you do. But negotiators, in order to get better, let me give you an example. I was always a really good negotiator. I thought I was. 5, 6 years ago, however many years, I listened into one of my phone calls, and I talked over the client constantly. I didn't appear rude, but to listen to, it was awful. And now I'm really conscious on a call that I let them speak as much as humanly possible, and I keep my mouth shut. Sometimes I sit like that, keep my mouth shut. But listen to what you're saying that sounds really good. Pick the positives out of it.
Because you haven't got to listen to every call, have you?
No, but I have a Wednesday morning, have it as a team meeting that you listen to, I don't know, 5 calls between yourselves, mark your positives, mark things you can improve on, pick up missed opportunities. Then next time you're in that kind of conversation, you think, oh yeah, I remember last Wednesday morning.
Top tip for you. What's number 4?
Number 4 is something we've just touched on a little bit. The top negotiators talk a lot less than they listen, or they listen a lot more than they speak. Often you're going to get a phone call from an excitable vendor, excitable buyer, tenant, whatever they are, and they want to spill to you as much as possible. And what we start doing naturally is interrogating. But what's your email address? What's your address? Where do you live? When can we fit you in? And you need to listen, let them get everything out that they want to talk about, let them lead with what they're ringing you for. It's not a hard sell. They're ringing you to sell their property, buy a property from you. Let them speak. And it's really, really important. But again, when you're listening into your calls, so many don't do it.
And you really think it's as easy as listening into some calls and just...
I do, yeah.
Top tip for you. What's the 5th point?
Make the client remember your name. So often calls are coming in, again, vendors, tenants, whoever, make them remember you, make them remember that conversation, build enough rapport for them to think, right, I'm going to ring Keira from X Estates. They're in, I don't know, the restaurant with their friends having a girly night. I want to sell my property. You need to ring Keira from X Estates. Make them remember your name. Give them something to remember you by.
How would you do that?
All sorts of ways. Build rapport based on what kind of behaviour they are. So I know you know Tony very well. You know the different behaviour types. And build a common ground with them so that they know house Keira, anything to do with houses, they're going to come to you.
Can you really do that in one phone call?
Yeah, absolutely. I've done it a million times.
Any top tips for you?
Yeah, again, loads of open questions. Ask them, listen to what they're saying, clarify, confirm, summarise.
Keep saying your own name?
Give them your knowledge. Yes, and say your name at the beginning, say your name at the end, use your full name. But yeah, summarise everything they're saying, listen to them, confirm everything they're saying back to them.
And what's the 6th and final point?
6th and final, always have, the top negotiators always have a list of buyers and a list of tenants. Okay, if I was going to sell my property and I rang, and these are real buyers and real tenants, we don't just make people up, we have proper tenants, proper buyers. But knowing the buyers and leading with the buyers, if someone's wanting to sell a property, surely if you've got in your mind Mr. and Mrs. Jones down the road dying for a property on that estate, and you can say, which estate agent are you going to go with? Are you going to go with the one that's armed with buyers? Of course you are.
But I put myself on the mailing list recently, 5 months ago, with all the estate agents in my hometown, because we're looking to move.
Oh, wow.
And I've had one phone call afterwards, and that was, do you still want to remain on the mailing list?
In mailing list, you just don't use mailing list.
Yeah. It was just kind of a phone call. But I bet all the others, I know they've put properties on the market in where I'm looking for, but they've archived me or...
Yeah.
What's all
But
that
why
about?
not ring and say, Chris, how's your property search going? It's talk about mailing lists. You don't say, are you still looking? You need to be saying, how's your property search going? Get into the conversation, open them up.
Excellent. Thank you for your tips today. We'll go on to the next video and talk about other important things on how to get more properties on the market.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thanks, Chris.